of what we normally use rap for. So yeah, I'm an activist rapper.
Come on, activist rapper, rapperist. I like that, bruv. I like that. I like that. Oh yes, we see our king, another king in the room, brother Leo Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. Salute, salute to the two kings in the room, Two Bada and Leo Muhammad. Salute to our very special guests on the Black Car Speakers Lounge.
Wa alaikum salam, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam. Wow, wow.
My brother Two Bada in the house. Good to see you, soldier. Thank you, brother Court.
Thank you.
Blessings
Thank
to you,
coming.
brother. Always, love. Always.
Praise God.
I see an awesome video of yours too, brother, with the great Leo Muhammad in that video, man. And that's serious. And it reminds me, it's very reminiscent of Public Enemy. I love that, man. And I want to get you to spit something a little later if you can, or as soon as possible, really. But I'm just glad to have the two kings in the room, and want to say big up and assalamu alaikum and peace and greetings to all of the people in the room, in the house today, on the Zoom house today. Right.
It's looking a bit dark here.
Yeah. It's dark because we've got some melanin in the place, bruh.
That's it, man. That's how we do.
Yes, sir. So I'm gonna, as you are the guests, I'm gonna make one of you, the brothers, our brother Leo Muhammad, the host. And obviously, you know, you are our guests. So I'm gonna go ahead and let you take it away, brother Two Bada and brother Leo Muhammad. But first, I want to ask first and foremost, Two Bada, you have any lyrics that you can throw down, my bro?
Always, my brother. Come on, man. You know this.
All right, all right.
But I thought before we even got into the lyrics, I thought we'd let brother Leo have a little word first. You know what I mean? Because you know, brother Leo he fires me up too. So you know, I want to hear him talk too. You know.
Likewise, definitely.
Well, okay. Let me begin, brothers, by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah. Whether we say God, whether we say Yahweh, Jehovah, whatever the name that we use to describe the creator of the heavens and the earth, I bear witness that there is but one. And I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I want to greet you, my beloved brothers and sisters, in the greeting words of peace. We say it in the ancient tongue of Arabic. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Family, those words simply mean, when translated from the Arabic to the English, peace be unto you. And I want to say, first and foremost, a tremendous thank you to Brother Courtney for organizing this today. And the subject matter is the time and what must be done. And just to say, also, just to ask your forgiveness for my voice, because we've not long come back from Hyde Park Speaker's Corner. And whenever we're in that place, we have to speak at a very, very high volume for in excess of an hour without any form of amplification. And what happens is that, you know, after a while, the voice kind of suffers. So each week we kind of sound like this for a while, and then we recover by the next day. But that's why the voice sounds the way it does. But just to say to the brothers and sisters, as a way of introduction, you know, unfortunately, brothers and sisters, we as a people, we don't necessarily appreciate the time that we're living in. One of the reasons why I love Brother Two Bada so much is because he's a brother who is very much on time in terms of the messages that he incorporates within the raps and within the lyrics that he delivers to our people. He's constantly dealing with the time. He's dealing with those things which are unfolding before our face. Whether it's here in the UK or in other parts of the world, the brother is constantly talking about those things which are unfolding, and also some of those things which are about to unfold. And so, you know, it's critically important that our people appreciate, for instance, you know, many of our people today, based on this COVID situation, are praying and hoping for a return to normal. But what does that mean, a return to normal? Why would we want to go back to what was normal, which was Black people crying out for change, Black people being desirous of an end of police brutality, an end of oppression, an end of the government lying and scheming against us, an end to all of these injustices where our children are targeted within the educational system, which we call the killing fields, and all of the things that happen in a society like this, where even our people who are qualified in one form or another in terms of coming out of their higher schools of learning and going into particular occupations. One of our great Brother Andrew Muhammad, on his Hidden Truth show, which goes out on a Tuesday evening, recently featured our brother Leroy Logan, who I think became a chief inspector in the Metropolitan Police. But again, when you look at, say, a Leroy Logan, and the fact that this brother, you know, went into the police to try to change the culture of the police in order that Black people may be able to achieve more justice. The racism within the police force itself was so bad, you know, that the brothers and sisters who are Black or people of color within the police had to form themselves into a Black Police Association because it was so corrupt in terms of the negativity that they found, that they had to band together within the police in order to just protect themselves and in order to you know, survive, because that's the reality of what we face as a people. And for our people now to be crying out for normalcy, what is normalcy? We don't want to go back to normal, brothers and sisters. We want to go to a place that's better than where we were before. And COVID-19, for instance, is not necessarily, in my humble opinion, this negative thing that many of us view it as. This is quite possibly the change that many of us have been praying for, because, you know, even the Caucasian, even the white man who runs his system is saying a new normal. He's not talking about going back to the way things were. He's saying that things will never be quite the same again. And we've got to be saying the same thing, not necessarily that we're looking at what he thinks is going to be the future, but we need to be planning and preparing for a future that we have fashioned for ourselves, for our children, for our women. Because, brothers and sisters, the time and what must be done is a 58 lecture series that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan did starting in 2013, where he really laid out for us. And I would invite all of us to, you know, visit YouTube, type in the time and what must be done, and check out the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who is the premier leader, teacher, and guide for Black people on planet Earth today. I make no apology for saying that. And, you know, anybody who wants to argue or fight over that, that's on you. But I'm saying that this man, you know, Leo Muhammad, I'm billed as a guest on here this evening, but I can assure you, I wouldn't have anything of any significance or value to say to anybody on this platform tonight if it wasn't for that man, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. That's my leader, that's my teacher, that's my guide. That's the man who I am studying, who I'm a student of. And I would recommend to all of our people, you need to take a look at the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that man, in terms of what he has in his mouth for us, in terms of guidance, it's priceless. And I would encourage all of us, beloved family, to really get up to speed with the time and what must be done. Because based on the time, we mustn't make the mistake of being behind the time or out of time. We have to recognize the time. And when we say time, we're not talking about my watch. We're talking about the universal time. We're talking about that hour that is predicted in both the Bible and the Holy Quran. We're talking about that predicted hour when one world, a world of sin and iniquity, a world of corruption and hatred, a world of racism and apartheid, a world of Black inferiority and white supremacy, when that world comes to a crashing end, and when a new world comes in, a world based on freedom, justice, equality, regardless to creed or class or color, a world where the original people who used to walk with God, not a spook God, not a God who is floating around on a cloud somewhere, not some mystical, magical, roundabout kind of God, but a real God. The Black man is God, the Black woman is God, the return of the magnificence of God in man. This is the time that we're living in, my dear brothers and sisters. And once upon a time, we walked the planet, we walked the earth as God. And the scripture says, as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the ending. And this is the time period in which we are living. And unfortunately, it's only really a lot of our people who don't recognize the time. The enemy knows the time. J. Edgar Hoover was preparing for this time way back in the 50s and the 60s when J. Edgar Hoover said, we must stop the rise of a Black Messiah who can electrify and unify the masses of Black people to go for their freedom. And so this is the time period in which we live in, my dear brothers and sisters. And the enemy knows the time, and he is unraveling, his world is falling apart. When you see a Boris Johnson in power, when you see a Joe Biden in power, I know a lot of you hated Donald Trump so much, you got happy when Biden came in. Let me tell you something, you know, if we're happy over Joe Biden, we're in deep, deep, deep trouble. You see, because these people have no good plan for us, dear brothers and sisters, and we have to stop looking to these people for our salvation. And we need to start looking to ourselves. We need to know what time it is. We need to know what we should be doing. And as this evening unfolds, if it be the will of God, I would like to try and just share a few of those ideas and thoughts with you about what we ought to be doing and how we should be doing. And, you know, this fact that we are the most disunited people on the planet, and that has to change, and that has to change in a hurry. I deliberately kept my uniform on, the Nation of Islam dress uniform from Hyde Park today. I deliberately kept it on because I also wanted to say to us, beloved family, you know, I know we don't go outside Buckingham Palace and mock the uniform that we see the white man wearing in his military. We don't mock their fatigues when we see them, the military getting ready to go to war in Afghanistan, or go to war in Iraq, or go to war in Libya, or any of the places that they've invaded. And by the way, I don't want to lose my train of thought. By the way, of the 200 countries which are signed up under the United Nations, of the 200 countries that are registered and recognized by the United Nations, this country that we live in, England, Great Britain, has been to war with all of them, bar 22 of them, has been to war or invaded every single country on the planet, bar 22 of them. This is the place where we live. This is, you need to understand where we live. You need to understand the time and the kind of people that we live amongst and who we're dealing with. Because, and some of us may hear that and be proud. Wow, Britain's is a bad man, really? Not on our behalf, brothers and sisters. And most of those countries that they've invaded and made war against, the people look like me and you, or they were people of color. And so I wore the uniform specifically because I need you to appreciate and understand that, you know, when you call the emergency services, they come uniformed, okay? When there is an emergency, uniforms emerge. In the word uniform, it's the word unity, universe, oneness, And we have to become a people who are uniformed. We have to become a people who are unified. We have to become a people who are one people. And you know, the video that Brother Courtney mentioned, that Brother Tubada made, and I was invited to play a small role in that video. It was to do with his beautiful and powerful track entitled One Voice. And this oneness, brothers and sisters, is what we need to really be pushing, and understanding that this is the time for our unification, for our oneness. This uniform and uniformity is an absolute necessity today if we are to overcome our enemies, who are all united. And you listen to their language when they talk, they're talking about it was the former Soviet Union. It's the United States of America. It's the European Economic Union. It's unity in all of their language. But when we talk, we're talking about, I'm a Nigerian, I'm a South African, or I'm a Ghanaian, or I'm a Jamaican, or I'm a Barbadian, and so on and so forth. Our language is the language of division and not the language of unity. We have to, dear brothers and sisters, begin speaking the language of unity. So, I mean, I could say a lot more, but I think just as a kind of foundation, that's what I would like to say in opening up, and turn it back over to our Brother Courtney and Brother Tubada. Thank you, brothers, for allowing me this time to just say those words. Brother Courtney.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That is an awesome, that's an awesome opening, brothers. There's a lot that was said there, and I have a few questions that I'd like to ask, and I just want to welcome everybody into the room. I want to welcome everyone into the room. Usually we do Black Car Speakers Lounge on Instagram. So this is the first time that we're doing this Black Car Speakers Lounge on Zoom. Now, what we do here at Black Car Speakers Lounge and the Black Film Institute is that we support artists, and we support those mainly in the Black community, so we can use our art as entertainment and education. In other words, edutainment. And Leo Muhammad was one of the first, you know, that I saw on the television doing edutainment. You know, he's the first to personify a Black man as Jesus, or Jesus being a Black man. As we know, Jesus is a Black man. And for me as a young teenager, that changed my mind. I thought, what? Jesus is a Black man. And that started me on the journey of self-knowledge. So I want to say thank you very much for that, brother. And that was done on the real McCoy. And I know a lot of people have a lot of questions in the room that they would like to ask. So please put your questions forward. And right now I feel spot because I got Tubada. I know Tubada from school, secondary school days. I feel spot. And obviously I know Leo Muhammad as a teacher from the mosque, who I was acquainted with and got acquainted with after I left school. So I feel very spoiled for choice having you two brothers here. So, brother, with regards to the time and that which must be done. In fact, you know what, Tubada, have you got any questions you want to pose for? Because you're my guest, my brother, and I have, you know, like when you invite somebody into your home, you have to treat them with that kind of respect. So please, if there's any questions or anything that you want to say or ask to Brother Leo Muhammad, please go ahead, brother, before I do.
Right, so what I'd like, blessings, brother, you don't know already.
Don't know.
What I'd like to say is just to like reiterate on a couple of the points that Brother Leo was saying, like for instance, when he touched on a point there, what I thought, yeah, it's very true, how the lockdown is COVID. It's not necessarily a bad thing for everybody. It gave, the lockdowns gave a lot of people time to really reassess themselves, the system that we're in, that facade that's been put over everybody's eyes, kind of gave everyone a chance to like unpeel the layers and really see, you know, the levels of what people will go to. Even though some of us in the know-how, you know, we've been studying these things for years, but it was a good opportunity, how I saw it, to like wake up the masses. It's the masses we've always had a problem with waking up. We've always had our pockets and our groups who are inclined to the way we're thinking. So yeah, I saw it as a very important tool in this crack of the system, because the system's on its last legs now. Like they're still putting up the facade, like everything's rosy on their side, but you know, more and more people are waking up, more and more groups are linking up, and that would bring me to the video. As brother Leo said, one voice was all about unity. It's all about, because I was traveling up and down the country, and I see the fact that lots of us are doing works in small pockets and don't know about the other pockets. So I saw the link up was just as important as the message. So One Voice video was all about unity. So I was blessed enough to have brother Leo come down, and he brought sister Esther down as well, which was just amazing. And a big shout out, sending big healings out to sister Sasha, because if I remember correctly, it was sister Sasha, when we was going through the list of people, who said, why don't you give brother Leo a call? Brother Leo should come down as well. So I'm very sure it was sister Sasha who put brother Leo's name in the mix. So big shout out healings to sister Sasha, because as you know, she was in the video as well. So
Sorry, sorry to
the
cut
time,
you, brother, but if you could as well
go on,
at
brother.
some point a little bit later, if you could maybe give us a little update as well as it relates to Sister Sasha, that would be beautiful. If you know anything, you know what I mean, in terms from the last time that we spoke, if you could also maybe give the brothers and sisters a bit of info as it relates to our sister as well.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
She read my mind.
Well, while we're on her right now,
Yes, sir.
she's in a stable condition. She's been stable for a while now. The last I heard, the breathing apparatus, ventilator, what was helping her breathing, she's off that. The last I heard, so she was breathing by herself. She was out of the intensive care. She's stable and it's positive. So yeah, and so it's a positive situation to be in.
Praise God, man. That's
And
awesome.
like I've said many a time, if there's one warrior queen who's gonna pull through this, it's our sister Sasha. And how many people can we be talking about with that serious injury, and they're still here for us to talk about now. We're still rooting for them to get. So that alone is testament to the strength of our sister. So I've got nothing but high hopes and optimism for her.
Who is Sister Sasha, for those that don't know? Who is Sister Sasha?
Sasha Johnson, UK's Black Panther.
Good. You know what? Because the media kept saying that she was Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, no. So our sister's like, she's just like us, cool. And just like brother Leo, we will work with everybody who's on the right frame of mind, got the same direction. We'll spread our love and work in all areas, because we know unity is a key. So I'm pretty sure Sister Sasha has worked with various different Black Lives Matter groups. So, you know, you just get associated through affiliation. I think it's more of that kind of thing.
That's awesome, brother. That's awesome. So I want to go a quick question to brother Leo. Brother Leo, how was Hyde Park today? What is Hyde Park all about? What is Hyde Park Speakers Corner all about in terms of, like, you've got the hecklers, you've got people talk. How do you manage to speak? For anyone that's been to Hyde Park Corner knows what I'm talking about. How do you manage to speak over the hecklers and don't get triggered by a lot of things they say? Because I was there the other week, man, and there was one particular guy that was there. He was just talking the most nonsense. And anyway, I won't say what I wanted to do, but suffice to say, yeah, I wanted my hands to start doing the talking, but obviously we have to, you gotta have discipline. But how do you manage to stay so composed, brother Leo? How do you manage that in Hyde Park? Yeah.
Well, I'm a little bit slightly reluctant to go into that right now. I will do, but because what I'm saying is that I remember Brother Two Badder was talking.
Oh.
He mentioned Sasha Johnson, and then I kind of jumped in and asked him if he would just say more about that. But I'm not sure if Brother really finished his remarks, because he was kind of on a bit of a flow, and I do apologize for interrupting the brother. I want Brother Tubada to finish what he was saying, and then I'll be very happy to answer that question, Brother Courtney.
Absolutely.
No, yes, brother. I had reached the end. I had reached the end of it. She's in a stable condition, and we're staying very optimistic. So yeah, no, I was finished. Thank you very much, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother.
That's it, she's doing
Well, you know, Brother Courtney, we use Hyde Park, and we've been using it now for in excess of 20 years. We use it as a training ground for the brothers in the Nation of Islam. And that is to go into a hostile environment where you have a lot of people who don't necessarily agree with you, who will be hostile to you, and they will try to provoke you into a response that is not necessary to respond. It's just necessary to go there and have the discipline to deliver a word, regardless to whom or what, whether they like it or not, to give a word in an intelligent way to the best of our ability that is clear and concise, and, you know, to really send warning to the enemy, but also to give good news to those people who may be inclined to a righteous way of life, who may be inclined to truth, because we believe that the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught and exemplified by the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, is pure, unadulterated truth. And so we go into Hyde Park, and by the way, it was set up in the 17th century by a wise government of the British, because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that of all the European people, I'm talking about the Germans, the French, and all of those who have expanded and gone out into places like New Zealand or Australia, because they're all Europeans, okay? They're all the same people. In Israel, these are Europeans. The reality is that of all of the Europeans, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that the Englishman is the wisest of them all. And he's so wise, brother, that he set up a place called Speaker's Corner in order that those persons in the society who are dissatisfied or disgruntled, because dissatisfaction brings about change. And so he set up this place for people who are dissatisfied in the society, be it political or social or economic dissatisfaction, to be able to go into this place and vent. And then what he would do, he would send his government agents into the same space in order to analyze and to listen carefully to what is being spoken, to see whether what is being spoken is revolutionary or whether it's ego, you know, because some of us just like the sound of our own voice. And so he wants to know what kind of atmosphere is in the society so that he can head off popular revolution of the people, or he can encourage foolishness. And so that's why Speaker's Corner was set up. And many very, very famous politicians and, you know, well-known speakers have cut their teeth in that place. And so we use that place as a training ground, and we go there in order to give a clear word, both to our friends and to our enemies, to let them know who the Nation of Islam is, what we're about. Because what you got to understand about the Nation of Islam is that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan was banned from this country in 1985, 1986 by the then Home Secretary Jack Straw under Margaret Thatcher. And they banned the minister because they recognized that the minister was that one that the FBI feared would rise, the Black Messiah, who could electrify and unify the masses of our people with a word. And England is really like the office of the wicked. It's the office of the wicked. England is the mother of America, the mother of Australia, the mother of all of these outposts that it's created that's much bigger than itself. She is the mother of all of it. And America, if America is the belly of the beast, Britain is the brain of the beast. And the brain is where all of the thinking and the instructions come from that feed into that body. And so they recognized the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan when he rose to rebuild the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, starting in around 1977. And the British are always on the lookout for that type of dynamic that potentially could turn England upside down, because it's only 600 miles from one end to the other. I think they say from Land's End to John O'Groats is 600 miles. It's a very small place. In fact, England could fit into New York State. That's how small an island, a country that it is. And so therefore, they knew that the level of intelligence that comes out of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's mouth wouldn't just energize us as Black people, but many wise Caucasians, many white people who are intelligent people in the UK would also hear him and begin to question, and would also want to follow him and realize that, hold on a minute, this man is speaking truth. And so they couldn't allow him into the country, and so they banned him. Even the British government was taken to court over the ban of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, and they lost the case. And the judge in that case said that Minister Farrakhan should be allowed into the country because the ban was unlawful. And the government moved the goalpost. See, this is when you hear these people talking about the rule of law, they are liars. They're damnable liars, because they lost the case, but then they moved the goalpost and they said, we're keeping the ban on the minister despite losing in a court of law. And so because of that ban, it meant that from their perspective, Farrakhan was finished. He was out of the country. There's no way that he could build anything in the UK. But just to show you the power and the majesty of the word that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has, here I am, here we are, here is the Nation of Islam in the UK, because they couldn't stop the word at immigration control. The word came through immigration control and found a place in the hearts and minds of Black people. Hence, we built the Nation of Islam right here in the UK. And so we are members of the nation who have to now propagate this word, where the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan wasn't able to come in and do it himself. And we've been doing that to the best of our ability. We've suffered a tremendous amount as a result of standing up in the way in which we have done. We've been targeted. They have done a tremendous job at dismantling the nation to some degree in this country. We're in the process of rebuilding it, because if you understand the history of the nation in North America, there is a process that it, like all things which are natural to the planet, have to go through. And one of the principles that I'd like to share with you is this concept of when you plant a seed in the ground, before it can ascend upwards, it has to send a shoot downwards. It's a law. If you observe a small baby, when they first try to crawl, the first direction they go in is backwards. They can't help themselves. They don't have the motor skills to be able to just go forward. They first go backwards, and then they learn how to propel themselves forward. It's a law. It's a law. And so the Nation of Islam rose in America and it fell. And then in the Nation of Islam, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said, never, ever to fall again once the house is rebuilt. And so we followed the same pattern here in the UK. We rose and we came to tremendous prominence in the early 90s. You know, if you remember around the time of the Stephen Lawrence inquiry, those times we were all over the media. If you remember the 10,000 man march and all of these wonderful events, we used to do the Proud to be Black events, so many things that we were able to do in this country. But then the nation came under attack, much of it from within, because the enemy always infiltrates into any Black group and any Black organization, because they're terrified of us ever properly uniting and doing something for ourselves. And so the nation fell, and it's now in the process of being rebuilt, and we say never again. Just like our brothers and sisters in North America following their lead, never again. The nation will be rebuilt, must be rebuilt, and by the grace and mercy of God, that's exactly what's taking place now. So that's essentially why we go into Hyde Park. It is to share with the people some of the life-giving teachings, because it really is life-giving, brother. You know, myself as an individual, my life has been transformed since I came into this word, because it truly is very, very powerful. And I hope that, you know, tonight, some of the brothers and sisters who are listening, you know, will be energized by what we have to share, myself and Tubada and yourself, Brother Courtney,
Yes.
to really, you know, make a change. Because, you know, change, they say that change is the thing that people fear the most. But the law says that change is a constant, and change is something that cannot be avoided. Everything is constantly changing. You and I are not the same person we were last week. We're not the same person we were when we were 2 years old. We're changing, we're evolving all the time and growing. And everyone must change. Everything must change. And so don't be afraid of change, brothers and sisters. Just because you've been doing that thing the way you've been doing it all the time, remember, one of the signals or one of the signs of insanity is to constantly do the same thing, expecting a different result. And so when you realize that, you know, what we're doing is not working, it's time to change. It's time for us to evolve and grow, and, you know, listen to the word that we're sharing, because if it resonates with you, that's because it's truth. If it makes sense, it's because it's truth. It adds up. It's like mathematics. You know, if it's something that you think, this is nonsense, well, you know, nonsense belongs in the dustbin. So you can throw it in the bin and move on to that which you believe is that much better. But thank you, brother, for that question. Awesome question. And sorry for being so long-winded. I just want to say in the chat, brother Adrian Allen wrote, Brother Leo, hot water with lemon helps soothe your throat. Thank you for that, brother.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Big up, big up, big up for that. My camera's a bit janky, so you got a picture of this dude in a suit and tie right now, people. So please forgive me. I want to big up everybody in the chat. Please put your questions forward to our two kings, my friends, Tubada and Leo Muhammad. Please put your questions forward. I might unmute you if you want to vocalize the question. And as Leo Muhammad would say at Hyde Park Speakers Corner, please make it a question. Don't make it a statement. No, but we're all family. We're all family. And I want to thank you very much, Leo Muhammad, for that response there. And Tubada, I'm looking forward to hearing from your lyrics in the next few moments, brother. Every week you're consistent with what you do, posting up your rap and music every weekend, brother. I love that. I love that. So
and brother Courtney.
Yes, sir.
Myself and brother Tubada, we're going to be in Nottingham on the 4th of September, brother. We're going to be going up there for a unity rally, fun day in Nottingham. So anybody in Nottingham or in the Nottingham area, look out. We're going to be coming to Nottingham on Saturday, the 4th of September.
Big up my Nottingham massive. You heard it first time here. Nottingham, excuse me, on the 4th of September. Is that right, brothers?
That's correct, brother. Yes, sir.
Good. Lovely. All right, any questions, people, put them forward. So we're on the subject matter of the time on what must be done. Do you know what? Let me share an incident that happened this week regarding what's going on right now with lockdown, as Tubada was saying. And, you know, as we know, they're pushing out the so-called medicine in a needle formation. They're pushing out the medicine in a needle formation. And I'm seeing a lot of these vans around, Brother Leo and Tubada, in places like Lewisham, Catford, Peckham, a lot of the working class areas, the NHS have their vans pulling up on the community, giving them the jab or the shot, as they were saying in America. I want to big up anyone from the States that is in the room right now, big up. But anyway, this week, I was just asking questions to the doctors who were giving out or administering the jab. And I was asking, what is in it? And none of them could actually answer my question. I said, well, on that basis, I'm not going to take it. How can I put something in my body I don't know what it is? I wouldn't invite somebody into my home that I don't know who they are. You know, I wouldn't give anyone my bank details. So the same thing must be, the same energy must be put into these jabs. Why would we put these things into our bodies and we don't know what it is? And I would just like to know, how do you think that the Black community, I mean, I know the answer, but this is for the audience listening on social media land right now. Do you think the Black community in both America, the Caribbean, and in the UK and Europe are being specifically targeted with these jabs or shots of COVID-19? And this is a question to Leo Mohammed and to both of yourselves. What the vaccine, are we being targeted with these vaccines?
Brother, we've been targeted for about 500 years. This is just their next wave.
Right.
They've been targeting us because they know our power, and they, like brother said, unity is a problem for them. So of course they're targeted. We've seen so many reports of how they want to give it to the Black community first, and they want us to step up and take it first. So yeah, this is no jab for me.
And if we get any jabs, we're gonna duck. You slip the jab, as they say in boxing terminology. You slip the jab, you know. You slip the jab.
There we go.
Because the reality is, for me, you know, and there's a lot of our people and working class people, you know, of the human family in general, are being targeted. You know, definitely the Black community is being targeted, and I just see a lot of our Black people, especially where I'm in Peckham. They're targeting a lot of the Black women who are shopping in Peckham to come and get the jab. And I asked them, why are you going to get it? And they said, you know, they want to fly out. They want to go on holiday. They want to keep their job, you know? And so what advice can we give to those who are afraid and don't want to lose their job, you know, and want to fly back to the motherland or want to fly back to the West Indies, but they feel afraid that if they don't take the shot, you know, if they don't take the shot, they can't get on the airplane, or they can't travel, or they can't keep their job. Because a lot of our people are nurses and workers of the NHS. So what advice, any lawful advice or anything that we could say, that we could share with the people, what they could use legally, lawfully to stop themselves from getting the jab?
Brother Leo, I'll let you come in on this one.
Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. I haven't got my my wallet with me here, but I would show you what I have in my wallet. But what I would suggest to the brothers and sisters is that you need to actually visit the government website, the .gov site, specifically where it deals with the NHS. And you need to look for the part on the site where it talks about COVID passports, and you need to scroll down to the part where it talks about exemptions. Because you see, dear brothers and sisters, you know, so much of what happens in a world like this is that the enemy will say something to your face, and he will push a particular narrative which is designed to force you down a particular road. And whilst he's doing that, at the very same time, he will put in the small print the fact that what he is coercing you to do, or trying to force you to do, or pushing you in a corner to do, he actually has no lawful right to be doing that. And he will put in the small print or on his website the fact that you can actually be exempt from what it is that he's trying to get you in the big headlines to adhere to. And so I would encourage brothers and sisters to visit the government website and search out exemptions. And what you'll find there is that you can actually self-declare a medical exemption. And no one has the right to question your self-declared medical exemption from any PCR test or any COVID vaccine. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I don't want, you see, brothers and sisters, also, when it comes to things like this, you know, at the end of the day, these are very personal things, and these are decisions that we have to make for ourselves. I'm not going to tell nobody what they should do medically or otherwise. All I'm saying to you is go to the website and check it out for yourself, because I'm not concerned in the least about any proposed vaccine because it's just not going to be happening with myself. And I'm very confident that, you see, again, if it's a case where it's just, oh, I need to fly out, and so therefore, you know, I was invited over 20 years ago to go to the Congo, and I love that central part of Africa and the green and everything and the wildlife. And I was excited about going to the Congo. And then they said to me, well, in order to go to the Congo, you need to get yellow fever injection. You need to get that kind of thing. Well, guess what? I've not been to the Congo. Okay. When I wanted to go to the Gambia, there was none of that was required. So I went to the Gambia. When I wanted to go to Zimbabwe, I wasn't required to do none of that. So I went to Zimbabwe. And that's it for me, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to let no enemy dangle no carrot in front of me that if you want to do this, then you have to submit to that. That's wicked. And I would rather be patient and wait for his system to fall apart, which is going to fall apart. What he's doing now is called overreach, okay? And it's unsustainable. This level of deception, this level of lying and you know, tyranny. We're living in a medical tyranny, and it's unsustainable. But what we have to learn as a people is patience. You have to learn how to outweight the devil. You see, but some of us, we're too fleet foot. You know, oh man, I need to do this thing, and in order to do it, I've just got to compromise with my health, do a bit of gambling with my life. Come on, brothers and sisters. Yeah. What our brother Tubala shared with us just now, the 500-year-old legacy. Come on, man. You know how long these people have been trying to kill us and poison us in one form or another? And now we think that, you know, they have our best interest at heart. Look, you know, brothers and sisters, if I'm offering you something that's good for you, I just want you to think, if I'm offering you something that's good for you, okay, and you don't want it, if it's good for you, why would I coerce you or try to force you? Why would I be trying to put you into a corner for you to take this good thing? Come on, man. Come on, man. Think now. You don't force nobody to take a good thing, but you force everybody to take a bad thing. Whenever you see that force being applied in the way in which it's being applied now with the media and the government ministers and the so-called health professionals and the scientists and whatever, and it's one narrative. Yeah. And by the way, see, Courtney, you've raised this. You might want to post this on YouTube or something like that. Some later
picture ready to share.
They'll take it down, brother. You see, because just our mentioning this is against the narrative, okay? And nobody is supposed to have an alternative opinion other than the narrative that's been pushed by the system. And so, you know, you have to question, why would that be the case? You see, if it's so good, why would you have to force it on people? Just a thought.
Very, very good point there, bro. And you know, I just, as you was mentioning about the in terms of the law, you know, I found something on my Black Car Speakers Lounge page, which I posted up a couple weeks ago, to be honest. And it's everyone's lawful right to go and check things like this out to see for themselves. So I'm just sharing screen. And if everyone can see, it says, I am exempt from using an NHS COVID pass. Thank you for your respecting my hidden disability. Equality Act 2010. Under the Equality Act 2010, it's unlawful for any individual or business to ask for evidence of exemption. Please report any cases of discrimination to the Equality Advisory and Support Services. There's a phone number right there. So everybody take note. What Leo Mohammed said is fact, it's law, and it's lawful. And there's a difference between lawful and legal. A lot of people don't understand there's a difference between the term lawful and legal. So everyone take down this information. Can everyone see the screen? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Beautiful.
Wonderful. So please, everyone, take a picture. It's the real deal. Our young people are going back to university in September, and you have a lot of these student unions where they go and drink, where they go and socialize. A lot of them have been forced to do something against their will or against what is called informed consent. You have a right to get informed consent. You have a right to sit down with your doctor and ask questions. They are GPs, they are public servants. I've been reading and looking into this myself, and John Muhammad, who's also here on this platform, big up John. There's questions that we need to ask if you feel that you're being forced into taking a vax in order to keep your job. Here's a great way to handle it. There's questions. You can ask questions as if it's experimental. You can ask, there's another thing called the Data Protection Act 2018. If anyone asks your information, you can withhold that information based upon the Data Protection Act of 2018. You do not have to go to a club, a bar, or your places of employment where they are asking you for, oh, have you got the jab? You know, a lot of us got friends that work, have you got the jab? You can say none of your business. Or you can say, well, Data Protection Act, I don't need to disclose that to you. So don't disclose. A lot of us are disclosing information that we don't have to. And the Data Protection Act can cover you. It's called GDPR as well. So there's questions here that you can ask your doctor. Can you please advise the approved legal status of the vaccine? And if it's experimental, can you please provide details, assurances that the vaccine has been fully independent, rigorously tested? Can you please confirm, I'm skipping through, can you please confirm the vaccine that you're not advocating, that you are, advocating is not experimental, mRNA? And that's the question I ask doctors, what is mRNA? A lot of them can't answer that question for me. So this is called informed consent. This is your lawful and legal right. And if anyone wants a copy of this letter that you can carry with you to your GP, I will be more than happy to send a copy of this letter and World Doctors Alliance. So this is not Leo Muhammad making it up. This is not myself making it up. This is not Too Bad making it up. You have lawful rights. And, you know, number one thing I've always said, one of the best things that I've learned, I'll just stop sharing the screen. What I've learned from Leo Muhammad is, and Minister Farrakhan, is the importance of reading, man. We gotta read. So definitely 2010 Equalities Act. Some of you may have hidden disabilities. Some of you just want to be exempt. You don't need to ask for permission for exemption. You can be exempt. So this is called informed consent.
Can I just
go ahead, sir? Sorry, go ahead.
Can I just add a little bit to what you said as well, brother, which is that, you know, when you look at those questions that are on that letter for you to ask, see, brothers and sisters, this is again one of the things that we must learn, how to ask questions. See, oftentimes what we do is we allow other people to ask us questions. And when they're asking you questions, what it means effectively is that they've put you in a defensive posture. They've got you on the back foot, but you shouldn't be on the back foot. You're not the one trying to entice somebody into something. You're not the one offering something to somebody. These are offering to you. And so what's important is, again, one of the reasons why we have to become more disciplined as a people, because it's a tremendous discipline to ask questions and not answer questions, but ask them questions. They must answer your questions. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this. He said, the man who cannot answer your question is not the one.
Come on.
This is deep, okay? So you've got to be able to question them. And these are very good questions, but you have to be able to put them in a place where if they answer all of these questions in the affirmative, I can assure that, which they never would, they never will, and they never can. And so once they can't answer those questions to your satisfaction, you are not obligated under such circumstances to then, you know, go along and take anything that a man can't give you proper assurances and actual facts. And also, I know there's another document as well where you can insist that, okay, you know, because one of the things that this said or one of the things that Brother Courtney put up earlier kind of said that what you must avoid doing is refusing.
Yes.
It's actually very important. And so what you don't have to refuse anything. What you have to say is, okay, under the circumstances or before we proceed, are you happy to sign this document to basically say that you take full responsibility for anything that may happen to me in the event of me taking this? They're not signing nothing. And if they're not going to sign, you're not going to take it.
Come on, bro.
It's very simple. You know what I mean? But you have to learn how to question them, you see, and make them answer the question. You occupy the moral high ground. You don't come down and start acting like you're some criminal or some person who is doing something wrong by just trying to maintain the integrity of your own body. Okay.
Yeah. For real, bro, for real. So people, that's true to the word, true to the word. So people, question everything, you know, so that way we can gain knowledge and we're not seen as what is called belligerent and refusing, you know. You're saying that I want to know more information, and it's the doctor's job to give you the information. And the same thing for our young people out there. Anytime a stop and search situation may happen, you can question the police. The police are public servants. They hold a public office. They're meant to be your servants. And one thing I'm learning too, Bada and Brother Leo, about the law is that the way governments are meant to be run, right now we're in a place where government is the top, police is number 2, and the people are
yeah, at the bottom.
And I remember you saying so many times, Leo Muhammad, that the 85% of the whole world's population, worldwide, globally, are ignorant, you know? And then there's 10% who control those 85%. And then you have a small 5% who do know the truth, the living truth. The
poor righteous teachers, brother.
The poor righteous teachers. And you got the 5%ers, the rappers, the rap group in America, who are brothers like Busta Rhymes and so many other rappers who are affiliated with the 5%ers in America, especially in New York, you know. And you know, too bad I watched the verses with the Locks, you know, and Jada Kiss and all them, man, Dipset. Did you see that too, better?
Yes, I did, brother. Yes, I did.
Yeah, I know we're segueing, but we're all on point. But what did you think of that? The Madison Square Garden battle between Locks and Dipset?
You know what? It was a beautiful thing to see our culture at the top of its game.
Come on, man. Come on. It was awesome. It was awesome. Jason in the chat room just asked a question, and this is to yourself, Brother Leo, or to Bada. What is more damaging to our community to raise, what is more damaging to our community, the rise in homosexuality or black men marrying white women? That question relates to the black family. And it's got another part of the question. With schools teaching LGBT as an alternative lifestyle, is that, I think it's one whole question that was asked. Yeah, what is more damaging to our community, the rise in homosexuality or black men marrying white women? That's a question to Bada and to Brother Leo Muhammad.
Brother Leo, I'll let you take this one.
Listen, you're gonna have to take some questions, and you said you ain't getting away tonight, bro.
Yeah, I was talking to Brother Too Bad one day, and I said to him, brother, you are prolific in your output of lyrics, man. This man is serious. Something happens, brother. Something happens on the news. Next thing you see Too Bad just catch up in his car, man. He just drop it down. The man is prolific, beloved, when it comes to lyrics. The man is absolutely awesome and so on point. But I understand the brother is not necessarily wanting to necessarily deal with this straight off like that. But what I would say, brother, is that they are both extremely damaging. Both this homosexual lifestyle that is being pushed, and LGBTQ stuff being taught now to the children in the schools, and also this other phenomena of us marrying into the world of the Caucasians. In the Nation of Islam, brother, we don't have anything to say about people who genuinely fall in love and love one another. We don't care about a black man being with a white woman or a white woman being with a black man if they have genuinely fallen in love with one another. And, how would you know? How would you know whether the persons are genuinely in love or not? You don't know. You don't know the minds. You don't know the hearts. And we don't waste a lot of time trying to dictate to people about their personal choices in terms of their relationships. However, it is unfortunate, brother, that most of these relationships, in my humble opinion, they're not based on love, brother. Most of these relationships are based on some historical realities that unfolding during our enslavement as a people. And, we were subject to all kinds of abuse, including mass rape by the slave masters against the black women. And sometimes they even sodomized the black men as a way of what they call buck breaking. Oh. They would use our children as bed warmers. And this is documented history. Brother Leo doesn't have to make up stories. This is actual facts. And so, you have to examine that relationship and how we come to be subject to, if you remember with Brother Malcolm X, he often talked about the rape of his grandmother, which is why he had that red hair, that ginger hair, and those freckles and that kind of complexion, because they had infiltrated his family through the process of rape. And so that's how a lot of the race mixing began. It wasn't something that was consensual on the part of the original people. It was a forced sexual encounter that took place. Unfortunately, many black men who were kept in a kind of depraved state and condition during our enslavement. See, a lot of people don't understand, brother, that when you lock a man up in prison for 10 or 15 or 20 years, when that man emerges from the prison, oftentimes they're classified as being institutionalized, because for the last 10, 15, 20 years, that man has had his light turned off for him. He's had 3 meals a day or whatever they provided for him. He's been told when to wake, when to sleep, when to exercise. Everything is done for him. He's not paying bills. He's not taking care of a family, etc., etc. When that man comes out of the incarceration, quite often within a short period of time, he will find himself back behind bars simply because he cannot cope with the outside world, where now he has to take responsibility, full responsibility for his life, and he has to lead a life and basically compete with all these other elements, all these other people who are running the race of life. And that's institutionalized after 10, 15, 20 years. I want you to imagine for a moment being in an institution of destruction for not 20 years, but 400 years. 400 years of not having the right to know, to read, to worship, to do the things which come natural, having your name, your language, your culture, your God, everything removed from you that undergirds you as a human being. See, when you're subject to that type of treatment, brother, then what happens is that it's something called genetic memory. And for many of us as Black men and Black women, we are still suffering the legacy of that inhuman treatment, that dehumanization that we went through for in excess of 400 years. And as a result of that, we have been taught that white people are the standard of beauty, that white people are wonderful, that black people are black and ugly, that black people never contributed anything to history, that black people, they did us a favor when they enslaved us and brought us on a westerly course in the holds of ships, because they made us Christian, they civilized us, they found us in Africa swinging through the trees with a bone in our nose, and all the rest of that narrative. We were taught that as a people, we were cannibals, and they would do these little cartoons of black people having a white man in a big pot and the black people running around. You remember those cartoons?
Yeah, bro. Tom and Jerry. Thomas.
All of that stuff, brother.
Oh,
so the point is that, you see, it's under those circumstances that many of us as black men, when we were so-called set free and coming up now into the 21st century, many of us now having access to the white woman, we lose our minds, brother. We've lost our minds. And the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said that the last trick of the devil, the last trick of the white man will be to offer us his woman. And many of us, brother, now being offered Karen, we've gone crazy, brother. We've gone crazy because we honestly believe that it's social mobility to have her on our arm. And so this is the trick. And so many of us are in these relationships, not based on love, but based on some type of perceived advancement if we can get with her as opposed to being with our own woman. Many of us are now being fashioned into homosexuality because, again, I don't know, I would invite all of us to visit YouTube and visit Dr. Wesley Muhammad.
Yeah.
Gives a beautiful breakdown on the chemicalization of cannabis and the feminization of the black man, and to understand that we are being chemically attacked, biologically attacked to feminize us and to emasculate the system. This is not something that is haphazard. This is something by design. And we have to understand that we've been socialized now into a behavior which is completely contrary to nature. I just want you to imagine for a minute that all of us become homosexual. Where are the children coming from?
Jeez.
So even the gay man and the lesbian woman, see, it's the height of hypocrisy and arrogance for them to now, have this mentality where, well, this is me. I was born this way. This is who I am. And all those people who have got a problem with it, they're sick, they're homophobic, they are backwards, they are, Neanderthals, and all the rest of the things that people are now labeled if they question this so-called lifestyle, this lifestyle choice. My point is this, even the lesbian and the homosexual, in order for them to be here, brother, a man and a woman had to lay down together. Do you understand? A man and a woman laid down together in order to produce the lesbian, in order to produce the so-called homosexual. And you see, we have to understand that no two lesbians have ever created a baby, and no two men have ever created a baby. That's not the design of Almighty God, Allah. That's the design of the social engineers who have engineered this type of activity and this type of practice. And it is extremely damaging to the Black community, because many of us now who have adopted that lifestyle, we're very hostile to the liberation struggle. They want us to focus on getting rights, human rights and civil rights for gay people or whatever, but that's not our focus. Our focus is on our human rights and our complete freedom and liberation from the oppression that we've been under for some nearly 500 years. So that's how I would answer that question, brother. We don't advocate going out and doing harm to homosexuals or lesbians or people who've chosen that lifestyle. But certainly we don't think it's a good practice or a good idea, because what it's doing is it's limiting our ability to reproduce and to become the great people that we once were and that we must become again. And, you know, I would encourage brothers, that black woman, that black sister that you are passing over and going to Karen and or Mrs. Wong or Mrs. Patel or any of the other people that you are gravitating towards and running away from your black sister, I would encourage you just to say, look again, brother, because she is your woman naturally. And vice versa to the sisters, look again at that black man. We are meant to be together. And, we will never really ever be fully content and happy whilst we are in that other kind of relationship. And you will see as conflicts grow around the world and things happen, and you see these things coming on your TV screens, you're literally going to be put in a position where you have to choose against yourself, because make no mistake about it, the issue of race is not going away. In fact, it's going to be the issue, the defining issue of the 21st century, because that issue has to be solved before humanity can finally know peace.
Serious thing. Serious. Very, very, very good answer, bro. Because there's a lot of controversy surrounded by what the media put out about the Nation of Islam, about what the media put out about Minister Farrakhan. Minister Farrakhan is anti-Semitic, he's racist, he's homophobic, he's all of these words. He's anti-vax. The nation is anti-vax, or we are anti-humanity. And for me personally, I've listened to Minister Farrakhan for myself. I watched him on Mike Wallace 60 Minutes, watched him on the Donahue show, handled himself like an absolute human being. And there's a lot of, I'm an actor, I do acting, and there's a couple of actors on here, in the room. And there's a lot of people in Hollywood who openly, but more secretly, admire the minister and the Nation of Islam and the work of the Nation of Islam, of what the Nation of Islam do in North America and all over the world. This is a question for myself. What would you advise actors to do in this current state where it appears to be a lot of black actors on television? We've got and movies. We've got Black Panther. We had Luke Cage, Netflix. We've got a lot of black actors in shows, Leo Muhammad, and on television playing detectives and roles where we are on TV now playing more principled characters, I would think. But for myself, there's some roles I've had to reject. I've had to say no. I was speaking with my friend earlier today who's on this, Adrian, who was offered a role, but they said to him he had to be, and I'm sure he doesn't mind me saying this, that he had to be naked. And it was a comedy show. And he didn't name it because of reasons. He had to keep it confidential. For comedy reasons, he was, jumping on a man's back naked, just for a laugh. And he, out of his own dignity, said no. So what would be your advice, Leo Muhammad, to the artists out there? And this goes into the question of the N-word as well. That's for Too Bad to answer. But what would be your advice to artists who are given these roles, they can't find work? What must, especially the black artist, the rapper, the actor, the singer, what should we do? What's the best advice that we could take in order to keep dignity? And is it true that we are, things are getting better in television world? If you could respond to that briefly, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, I mean, first of all, brother, we've got actors, we've got writers, we've got directors, we've got producers, we've got cameramen, we've got sound people, we've got all of the skills in corporate Britain, some working in the BBC, others at the different channels. We've got our people all up in those arenas, making programs and films and all manner of things, but we're doing it for somebody else. Our problem, brother, is that we do not, as a people, come together, pool our skills in order to make our own documentaries, our own movies, our own, you see, and this is where we suffer, because another people writing scripts for us that they want us to play. They're never, ever, brother. And we're foolish if we ever expect them to write something, brother, that's gonna give us or make us see in a good light, that we're gonna look how we ought to look. You see, this is the problem. We really expect the BBC and these other entities to write things for us to act in that's gonna make us shine. It's just not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen. And, you know, there'll be little roles from time to time. You know, one of the reasons, somebody asked the question, how did I get into acting or whatever in the group or whatever, but one of the ways, when I initially was invited to the BBC to have a conversation with them about a show idea that they had. When I asked the producer at the time, you know, what did you want to call the show and whatever, and what was it? He was, well, maybe we want to do like a comedy show, but what was the name you had in mind? He said he did that with his hand. And, you know, he said that the name that they had in mind was Flick. He said, you know, when black people flick their fingers like that. And I thought to myself, my God, you know, and so at the time I was studying a black inventor by the name of Elijah McCoy. And it occurred to me that, you know, Elijah McCoy potentially, in terms of his inventions, they were so good that whenever anybody wanted something he invented, they would ask, is it the real McCoy? And so I suggested to the BBC, what about the real McCoy? And they kind of hummed and hawed a little bit, then they went away, and then they came back after a few weeks and said, yeah, they're gonna go with the real McCoy. That's how the real McCoy became the real McCoy. And what I said to them initially when they decided to employ me on there to be one of the actors on this, I said I wanted to write as well. I wanted to be one of the writers. Because, you see, brother, I knew that for me to partake in that, I needed to have some input into the type of sketches that we were going to be doing. And so I wrote, brother, on average, I would write something like 35 sketches just to get 10 in, because they would reject a lot of the stuff because it was just too powerful. Because when I wrote to make us laugh, yes, but I also wrote to make us laugh and at the same time nod our heads saying, ah, that's true, you know, that type of humor. So you see, brother, my advice to the young brothers and sisters who are trying to get into the arena of acting is that, you know, your integrity is critically important. Your dignity is important. And I know, you know, we get scared because, oh, well, what they will do, they threaten you, basically. They say, if you basically turn things down, then you may not get another offer. It's like when you're homeless and the council decides to give you some scraggly old flat and you think, well, man, this looks so terrible. You know, I'm going to hang out I'm going to wait them out for something better. And they basically tell you that this is the only offer. And if you don't take this, you're intentionally making yourself homeless. So I'm just saying that, you know, it is a very difficult one. I would advise brothers and sisters to begin to pool skills, pool resources, and start to write and produce and direct and make our own shows, make our own programs. The rappers in the early days, the rappers did the same thing, you know, brother. They made music, they started selling the stuff out of their car boots and whatever. And eventually the big boys came because they realized they couldn't ignore this grassroots powerhouse that was rap, that was hip hop. And then, of course, they got in there and then they steered it into gangster rap and they steered it into some filthy, low down kind of stuff to try and take away from the power of it. But my point is, again, simply that we need to determine for ourselves that we want to say something in our acting, in our music, in our artistic endeavors that uplifts our people, uplifts you as an individual, as the performer, makes you feel good about yourself. When you look in the mirror, you like what you see. You're not, man, why did I do that? You know what I'm saying? Because you got to live with that stuff. You got to live with that for the rest of your life. And it's very sad, brother, that so many of us will, you know, basically sell our souls for the 30 pieces of silver and lose our dignity. One of the reasons I guess you don't really see Leo Muhammad too much on the TVs, because I'm a principled person, you know, and I just refuse. I'm just not that desperate for that kind of attention that I'm going to do stuff that's not in keeping with my dignity and my principles. You know, I would rather wait on God. Okay, and I believe that Allah is blessing me, and that I will be blessed to be able to achieve great things in this life, and that when I finally depart from the physical realm of this world, I will be able to, people will remember that this brother, you know, had principles. He lived according to a set of principles, and he didn't compromise to the degree where it was all about, you know, some money. You know, no piece of paper, brother, can ever replace my dignity. I can't speak for anyone else, and I understand that people, you know, get kind of anxious and a bit desperate when they're trying to enter into that industry, and they're offering, dangling things in front of you, but at the same time they want you to be a chimpanzee. You know, it's your choice at the end of the day.
Because you know, Leo Muhammad, thank you very much for that as well, bro. Because I've done roles in films where I would never ever do. I know roles I'll never ever do. No way. I've done roles where I'm the gunman, I'm the gangster, but I've only done it in the conditions that there's some kind of lesson in that film. You know, like the movie Belly. I remember you gave an awesome breakdown of the movie Belly, starring Nas and our brother who passed away, man, DMX.
Yes.
That kind of role, I would play that. I would play the role of a Malcolm X like Denzel Washington did, because that movie inspired me to know that I can change.
Yes.
You know, Denzel Washington he done an excellent job out of Malcolm X.
Excellent job.
You know, DMX, Nas.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, phenomenal. And so from, you know, I've done roles where, you know, I'm shooting, I get shot. You know, it's all pretend. I have to explain that to my mom, like, why them shooting at that? Mommy is just, you know, it's acting.
Your mum start talking to the television.
Yeah.
All them short up my son like that.
And I said, Mom, I had to do that take 20 times. I'm alive. That's the character that died, not Courtney. Courtney's alive. But I'm so careful. And me and my friends, we've set up this collective called the Black Film Institute and Black Car Speakers Lounge to speak to us, to speak to the youth, to speak to artists and say, there is another way we can. I mean, there's TikTok videos blowing up, you know, 1 minute video short films, 2 minute short films. And we're in the midst of writing our own material right now where we can televise and push it forward, because social media is one of the biggest equalizers. It's a double-edged sword where in one sense, propaganda is coming out and misinformation, but in another sense, platforms like Zoom and YouTube, you can get the absolute truth out there.
Absolutely.
You know, so I'm looking forward, brother, because I've got some scripts written up and I want to get yourself involved in Two Badder and so many others.
Yes.
You know, we gotta, you know, I do remember listening to Minister Farrakhan, I believe it was the Hip Hop Summit, where he said rap music and the rappers and the actors can get to the youth quicker than those who speak or the teachers. You know, and I've never ever forgotten when he said that, you know, and he embraces the young people as you do embrace the young people. And you got a lot of our young ones doing drill music, you know, drill music, which originated in Chicago, but I believe it's banned in Chicago right now. Correct me if I'm wrong, Too Badder. And you see a lot of the drill artists out here now doing their thing. You see brothers like Stormzy, he mashed up Reading show yesterday, the festival, Reading Festival. And I can't wait until I see man like Too Badder on them big stages there, you know?
Yes, sir.
So yeah, the youth are very important. But there's a question for Too Badder. Too Badder, question for Too Badder, it says, would we be, I got to phrase this right. How do we stop the rappers using the N-word in their music? I think this is a brilliant segue from what we're speaking. It all connects to what we're saying here.
So I think you'd go beyond trying to stop it in music, and it'd be more, how would you get the young brothers of today to stop using it in their everyday language?
Come on.
The music is just a repercussion of how they speak on the streets. So it'd be more addressing, why do they use this in everyday language today?
Good question.
So I think it'd be a more two-tier deal with that, and then the answer to the music would come in. But I was just about to cut in and say, brother, I am short for time.
Yeah.
I need to run off now, but I've got to give you some bars
You
before I
have to,
go.
bro. You ain't going
Like
nowhere until you give them bars, bro. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Like how you got it onto the music now, you just hit me at the right point.
Yeah, yeah.
So I got a little something for you.
Come on, people, too better. Everybody lock in. Go ahead, bro. Take it away. It's all yours.
All right. Shout out to everybody on Black Cast Speakers Lounge. This is your boy Two Brother with brother Leo Muhammad and my brother Courtney. All right. Bada, he can't stop. The thing gone now. People telling me I need to calm down. I told them I'll calm down when they stop bribing the kids to go inside the club. They need to inject their arm now.
Whew.
We in a group, we in these groups. Everybody wants solutions. All about land, agriculture. We need to farm now. Come on, Donny, it ain't that hard now. They poisoning the thing. You can't tell a man to calm down. A lick shots in Babylon direction just to make them know. Them plantation days gone now. I did a show in Leeds. Me and Craze put a whole blaze to the stage. We started flowing on them beats. There was a moment, it was deep. I can't lie, my bless. I got this feeling burning deep in my chest, and they can't extinguish it. I start to get all linguistic with it and flow like I'm connected to mystics, but that's a different thing. So while they parade these cowards, they slyly giving police more powers. But we just concentrate on ours and make sure they can never take our powers. No. Spanish town descendant, they said my skin's too brown for their emblems. I said, you should have left me where I was, dripping in gold pendants, worshipping the sun, just me and my menson. We were nice then. They came over, they saw our life then, stole all the gold and left us with Christ then. Never seen women like this, because they were white men. They quick to rape them, don't want to wife them. Disgusting. They've been lusting over our things since the 1400s when the Portuguese mustered in. Now, I don't know if it's the same white Jesus that Spain ushered in we supposed to be worshipping. I'm like, sorry, Nana. I hate to go against the elders. They ain't fooling better. Where's all the Christian healers for Corona? Nah.
We might have to get a pull up on that. Go ahead, carry on, brother.
Healing them from home then. Why Jesus said the command? I will for you. I got another one for you. Why even pull it up? I got a next one. They say knowledge is the path to enlightenment, but I still don't know if they're right enough. I see some clued up freedom fighters that ain't fought the demons inside of them yet. I see some pure hearts that's willing to ride, but let vampires suck off their vibes. And I see people stand and unite, willing to fight for what they think was right. But are you gonna make it? Make what? After I ain't living in mansions with whips outside, my people still ain't got. You must have thought that this was bars to riches, like I was just interested in cars and trinkets. Let me chat to them. Lockdown 3, Tier 5, Episode 1, Scraggly You did it again. I left last year with him staring down the barrel of my lyric gun, and this year I'll do it again. Listen to me. I will blaze all year though, and they don't know me good. Make sure you stay grounded. That's why I keep it hood. I burn the lyrical fire, I pour the lyrical petrol, and I stoke it all with the lyrical beechwood. Then I ain't gonna stop till my people them eat good. You can keep your vaccines, because no one ain't sheeps. Look, there ain't no trust with my people and vaccines. If you know about Tuskegee, you know what that means. If you don't know, Don, you need to look that up. Tuskegee experiment is where they lost all the trust. Now, it's one earth, yeah, we've all got to live on it. So finding some common ground is a must. But it's like someone who lies and cheats and steals and murders and still wants you to forgive them. And we got the capacity to forgive. But first, you got to put your hands up, say sorry, admit that. Do not act like you never did that. In the courts, if you don't show remorse, what do? They sting that. Same thing here. Let's have the proper conversation. Stop acting like things is really fair. You see, this year, I swear, there's no apologizing. See this black right here, no compromising. Not one time will I take the bass out of my voice. Who don't like it, you can. You can't piper. You're the devil's advocate, will like it. What's white privilege? Let's be real. storming the Capitol without getting killed. If that was a bunch of black souls, there would have been a bunch of black funerals, a bunch of black mothers pulling on the clothes, a bunch of black people screaming out, this ain't fair. White people storming the building and just walked out of there. So
okay, we just lost the brother. We just lost the brother. But please, let's give a big round of applause, man. I mean, that was awesome. We just lost the brother. I think it was something to do with the connection. It could be the battery. Man, listen, them powers there, those powers of rapping. And then those lyrics, I think it mashed up the 4G, the 5G, or the 3G that it was functioning on. But look, we've just lost our brother. Hopefully we can get him back up. Oh, right. Brother's back on now. We've got to have our meetings back where we're all can see each other and we can do this thing live. So too bad it's back, brothers and sisters.
No,
Sorry about that.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. It's not your fault, brother. It's not your fault.
Yeah, I think the powers that be felt the heat on the airwaves and tried to cut it.
Yeah, yeah. Brother, I think we got the message though. But yeah, carry on, carry on. I mean, if I don't believe you finished.
No, that was me, brother. I was right at the end, right there.
Oh, okay, King. Yeah, man. Brother, big up, man. That was big.
Yeah.
That was big. That was big. That was big, brother. So listen, I want yourself to tell us where you're performing next, and obviously, please repeat where you and Brother Leo are gonna be, so that we can come along and support whatever you're doing.
Yes, so 4th of September, that's next Saturday. It's a big day. Two things happen in a day. So first of all, is the Unity Rally in Nottingham. So me and Brother Leo and the whole of the family is going up there to support the sister up there and do a march with them and just support for the day. It's going to be a performance up there. So that's Saturday, 4th of September, Nottingham, Unity. And then later on that evening, I'm performing down in Catford, Silks. Everyone knows Silks, Rushy Green. So I've got a big performance in Rushy Green. I've got special guests coming through, new tracks getting performed. So next Saturday, the 4th of September, is the big day.
Come on, my brother. Yeah, man. That's how we do it, bro. That's how the thing's set. That's how the thing's set, as they say in Jamaica, you know? Brother, I want to say thank you very much, man. Thank you for coming on, you know? And you always support
brother, thank you for having me. A pleasure always.
Always a pleasure, always an honor to have you on too, brother. And I look forward to seeing you next week. And you know what we've got to do? I've got to get yourself and Brother Leo in person on the studio. Yeah, man, throw out some a round of applause hands on the chat right now for Too Badder, man. I'm serious. Throw out some round of applause, you know? But I've got to get yourself in and Brother Leo in together where we can do something. So there's no Wi-Fi, no nothing, no block, nothing, you know? And we just kick it straight. You know, with no chaser.
100%, brother.
1,000,000%, King. 1,000,000%. But brother, thank you very much for your time. And I'm always looking forward to your freestyles every weekend, you know? Always, brother. It's inspiring.
Brother Leo, we catch up soon.
Yeah. Love to, brother, man. Thank you very much for jumping on the platform. Thank you very much, as always.
No problem, bro. You take care. Blessings to the family.
Bless up to, brother. That's Too Badder, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. Too Badder, one of our big guests for tonight. We are joined in by yourselves, all 19 plus, or 19, there's 19 participants. Thank you very much. Any questions that you want to ask? I'm very conscious of Brother Leo's voice, you know, so he's here with us now. So any questions, please put them forward. The time and that what must be done is the subject matter. Leo Muhammad and Too Badder. Jason said to everyone in the chat room, rappers no longer use the word faggot, even though people still use that in their language, everyday language. So I don't think it's about when people stop using the N-word. It's then the rappers will stop using it. Okay. Right. I saw another question, which was a question to Brother Leo. Sorry, brother, did I mute? Yeah. The question to Brother Leo is a question. What is your take on veganism?
Yeah, just 1 second, brother.
Yeah,
You've had me muted for ages. I wanted to say goodbye to brother.
Oh my God, sorry, brother.
I was muted, so that's why I couldn't really speak to the brother. But Okay, yes, sir. Go ahead.
Sorry, King. Sorry, brother.
The question,
For some
beloved.
reason, I thought the unmute was there. And sorry, that's my apologies. My apologies, brother.
No problem, brother. No problem.
Yes, sir. So the question is, what is your take on veganism and where the mainstream lot claim to be the pioneer of it? That's the question from Adrian.
Yes, sir. Well, don't know if you can see that. That's the seminal book from the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, How to Eat to Live. And this is the dietary law by which we live in the Nation of Islam. And once you really study this, when you really understand the science behind how we eat in the nation, you could say it is almost what you might call veganism, in that the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we are really vegetarians by nature, fruitarians by nature, and that all meat eating is really something which is not good and is potentially detrimental to health. And so he encourages us to really go back to fruits and vegetables. I guess the only real difference is that we eat or we drink milk, and also we will eat eggs and things of that nature. So we're not vegans, but I do understand, you know, those persons who are pushing that particular type of eating regime. But in the Holy Quran, milk is given to us. And I know a lot of people, especially Black people, we have been schooled in this idea that we are lactose intolerant and therefore we can't actually drink milk. And then some people argue that the milk is the food for the calf of the cow, and why would we consume that? But I will just answer that in this way. You know, it's like we got to understand, beloved brothers and sisters, that as long as we are not abusing the creatures of the planet, there are some creatures which have been given to us by the Creator of the heavens and the earth for our use, not for our abuse, but for our use, which is why we get leather shoes from the cow and so on and so forth. And we get so many different benefits from the horses and so on. And so back in the day, that's, you know, this term now, horsepower for our vehicles, this is where it comes from, because of course, once upon a time, that was the mode of transport in the desert. They were using camels and so on and so forth. But the fact of the matter is that the creatures are given to us. The bees provide us with honey and so on and so, and honey is a tremendous healer. And, you know, you'll have people that'll argue, well, you know, we shouldn't drink the milk, but then at the same time, those same people will tell you how much they consume honey, which comes from the belly of a bee, of an insect, but it's very, very powerful medicine for human beings. And so in the Holy Quran, Allah says that he has given us a drink which comes from between the blood and the feces of the cow. And this drink is agreeable to the drinker. In other words, it's very, very good for your health. People will tell you how the milk has within it calcium, and Dr. Abdul Alim, who was the medical doctor for the members of the Nation of Islam, he teaches us about such compounds as alpha interferon, which is found within the milk. And again, let's just be very clear. We're not really talking about this so-called pasteurized milk that you go to Sainsbury's or one of the supermarkets and pick up. That is really not a very good milk for you to consume. What we're talking about here is the milk that I used to consume as a young child on the island of Jamaica, when we would take the milk directly from the udder of the cow without any heat treatment or anything like that, as long as you just make sure that it's clean at the point of delivery into the vessel that you are going to take it from. And that's the milk that I drink today. I go to a farmer's market, or I go directly to the farm and get the milk that's not been treated in any way or form. It's actually banned in this country really to consume milk of that nature, but that's the same milk that the Queen of England drinks on the Dutchy farms that they have, because they're very wise people. They know how to get longevity out of life. And so that milk is very, very powerful. It has within it tremendous benefits for the human being as well as the calf. But Allah gives it to us for that reason, because there's benefit in it for us. But, you know, the final thing I will say is that, yeah, we should be having a plant-based diet. That's the best diet that we can have. Fruits and vegetables, and, you know, cutting out all of these processed foods that we get from these supermarkets and these really sugar saturated foods and salt saturated. And when I say salt, I'm talking about that table salt, that white salt that we all consume, which is extremely detrimental to health. Yes. If you're gonna have salt, you should try and go for Himalayan rock salt, the pink salt, or natural sea salt, that's again not gone through processing. So that, you know, that's how we feel about veganism. We think that it's not necessarily such a bad idea, but we would just say that you should consume the milk in the manner in which I've described it, and that's also very, very good for you. You need that other element, that calcium, for your bones and for your teeth and for your hair, and that way you've got a very balanced diet. Yes, King. So how about intermittent fasting and intermittent, what do they call it? Intermittent fasting. Yeah. Intermittent fasting, again, is taken from this. You know, a lot of these things have been repackaged now and sold to the public as intermittent fasting, but in the Nation of Islam, we eat one meal every 24 hours. Say that again, say that again. Yeah, let me repeat that. We eat one meal every 24 hours, nothing in between. Okay, so no snacks, no Mars bar, no little nibble on an apple or something like that, or no chewing gum, things like that, because we've got to keep that mouth moving to make ourselves, fool our stomachs into believing that we're actually eating something. One meal every 24 hours. And within that meal, you eat everything. You eat your main course, you have your sweet, you might have some fruit and whatever. I eat my fruit before I have my main course. On an empty stomach, I eat my fruit. That way you get all of the nutrients from the fruits properly. Again, you got to be very careful today, because of course most of the fruits now are genetically modified. Corn, genetically modified. You got to be very, very careful about what you put into this body. This body is so precious. It's such a very unique and powerful machine, but you have to be very mindful about what you put inside of it, and then when you put stuff inside of it, and that you only consume food when you're actually hungry, when you need to eat. And, you know, 24 hours, believe me, you're not going to starve and die and fade away. This is a myth that we have to eat 3 meals a day and all of this. And they tell you now that the best meal is breakfast. You've been sleeping for 8 hours, you get up out of your bed and the first thing you do is eat. Come on, man. Come on. Did you know that breakfast, listen to the language, breakfast, break fast, that breakfast was invented in the 1930s by a man called Kellogg's. Jeez, come on. It's a brand new mealtime. And we never, as ancient people, as original people, we never got out of our beds and ate food in the morning, beloved. That's bars. If I was to eat in the morning now, I would probably vomit all day. I'd probably feel so lethargic and messed up. I don't eat until the evening time. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in this book recommends that the best time to eat is between 4 and 6 in the evening. That's the optimum time to eat. But sometimes we don't really get to be able to stick to that time. But as long as you're not eating too close to your bedtime and you're not going to bed on a full stomach, you know, you must avoid that. But eat one meal a day if you can. I mean, I'm not saying you just jump into that straight away. It will take some practice, and you need to wean yourself off of the 6 times or 7 times that you're currently eating, with all the snacks in between. And then you will find that your skin will clear, you will feel more alert, more alive. If you remember Bob Marley's admonition, Bob Marley said, a hungry man is an angry man. The anger is not talking about being angry, road rage, and all that kind of nonsense. It's just talking about keeping you keen. Those of you who do a 9 to 5, when you have lunch, do you want to work after lunch? No, you don't. You feel heavy, you feel saturated. But if you stay hungry, then you're keen. You can get your work done. And then when you've completed all your work and you get home and you have a beautiful shower and prepare yourself and prepare that beautiful meal and sit down, then you can really enjoy your meal. And so, you know, we eat far more than what we need to eat. And those of us who think that we can't survive without chicken and beef and steak and all of these things, come on, brothers and sisters. When was the last time you saw an elephant? That elephant only eats leaves. When was the last time you saw a rhinoceros? Leaves. When was the last time you saw a silverback gorilla? Come on. This is the myth that if you don't consume all this dead flesh, that you're going to fade away and die. Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, that's brilliant. Love that. That's bars. That's what the young people say. That's bars. You're spitting some bars there, brother. Yeah, man. 1 meal a day, 4 to 6.
So, Brother Courtney, just to let you know that I'm going to have to leave you at around 10 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So we're going to go straight into the question. Thank you, Brother Leo, for your time as well. But before you leave, I've got one more question. Jason's coming with the questions now. Jason, man. Big up Jason. He wrote a book called 21 Steps to Blackness. 21 Rules of Blackness. I believe that's Jason. Yeah. Big up Jason, man. Jason asks, did anyone else from the BBC, Real McCoy, follow your teachings or join the Nation of Islam? Did anyone else from the BBC's Real McCoy follow your teachings or join the NOI? And by the way, the name Real McCoy, brother, I want to add to that question by saying, wait, what was the origin or the idea of why you called the show The Real McCoy?
Yes, big up, Brother Jason. Thank you, Brother Jason, for my copy of your powerful book. I'm still reading it, brother, but I've got so many things I'm reading. I haven't been able to get too deep into it yet, but I do intend to. Thank you for that, brother. And just to say, I did actually explain it earlier on, but I was studying the Black inventor, Elijah McCoy. And he invented things like the ironing board, and he invented something called a drip cup. Before his invention of the drip cup, all machinery had to be turned off to be oiled, and then they would lose production time. And so the drip cup is what enables the modern engines to work continuously whilst they're being oiled. And so this was Elijah McCoy. His inventions were, he invented many, many different types of lubricants. And so because I was studying him at the time when I went to the BBC, it seemed to me only natural that the show that we were talking about making should be called The Real McCoy. So that's where the name comes from. I suggested it to the BBC and they eventually took it on board.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you for that question, all the answers to that question. So any other questions before we let our brother and our guest, Leo Muhammad, go for the time being? I want to say thank you very much, everyone. This is the first time that Black Cast Speakers Lounge, Black Film Institute, which is the umbrella movement and company, this is the very first time that we've done a live Zoom. Usually we host our talks on Instagram, the platform, or we just record prior and then we release it out on our YouTube. By the way, while everyone is here, please everyone follow, like, and subscribe to the Black Film Institute. I'll put up the page so everyone can see momentarily. Everyone, please subscribe to the Black Film Institute on our YouTube page, because we're putting short films up, our own independent productions, as well as podcasts like this where we can inform and reach the people and really get our people together. And in fact, everybody that is interested in trying to lift up humanity, you know. And brother, just before you go, you know, there's this thing going on about Kabul and Afghanistan. And we know what happened 20 years ago, September the 11th or 9/11. So brief, I know there's not a lot of time left and we appreciate your time, but briefly, what does the minister and what is the teachings saying about regarding what's happening in Afghanistan? Is it the evacuation of the British citizens over there and the prior engagements of the American government and the British government of what they did in Afghanistan to the people that were living there?
Yes, sir. Just before I answer that, let me just answer that first question that you asked, brother.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed, brother. You know, initially the Real McCoy was being built around brother Curtis and Ishmael, the double act, the two comedians who initially they were trying to build the whole program. Whilst it was Flick, before it became the Real McCoy, they were trying to build it around those two brothers. And unfortunately, brother Ishmael Thomas, there's Curtis Walker and Ishmael Thomas. Unfortunately, brother Ishmael Thomas developed a bit of a substance abuse problem with cocaine, I believe it was. And because they had employed both Curtis and Ishmael as a double act, when Ishmael Thomas developed his dependency on cocaine, they basically couldn't no longer build the program around those two brothers. And, you know, those two brothers kind of like went by the way. And persons like Robbie G, Eddie Nestor, myself, Mira Sayal, the Asian girl, and Luella and Colette Johnson, we all came in and basically, and also, of course, the great Felix Dexter, and we became the Real McCoy team. But after brother Ishmael Thomas went through his difficulties, he actually became a member of the Nation of Islam. He joined the Nation of Islam, and he was with us for, you know, a number of years, but unfortunately he did drop out. I believe that he's, because of the substance problems that he had, I think he had a relapse and he went back into that. But from what I've heard of late, brother appears to be doing pretty well, doing much better. And I think somebody did say that he did start to do stand-up comedy again. And I think he's living somewhere on one of the coasts, I think the south coast of England. And from my understanding, he's doing a lot better. And but he did become, for a time, a member of the Nation of Islam. In relation to Afghanistan, beloved, it's just important to understand the Afghan people and the fact that, according to history, going back as far as Alexander the Great, they've been trying to conquer the people of Afghanistan, and everybody has failed. The Russians tried it in the 70s and 80s, and the Americans went in to assist the Afghan people, who then were the Mujahideen. And they were, one of the fighters with the Mujahideen was Osama bin Laden, who was a Saudi, but he went to fight with the Afghans against the Russians. And the Americans came in and said, if you defeat the Russians and get them out of your country, we will back you, we will help you. They provided munitions, they provided weapons, they provided money, they provided certain logistics for the Afghan people to fight against the Russians. When the Afghans eventually drove the Russians out of their country, then the Americans and the British and the so-called Allied forces reneged on their promise to the Afghans and basically left them in the lurch with a country that was upside down. Then what happened was that you had the rise of the Taliban. The word Taliban means student of God, student of Allah. And the Taliban came up. And then, of course, September the 11th happened, where the World Trade Center buildings, 210-story buildings, were brought down, they say, by aeroplanes that were flown into the towers. And of course, on the same day, the Pentagon was also attacked by, they say, an airplane was flown into the Pentagon building. We haven't got the time, brothers and sisters. I hope that Brother Courtney will do this again and we can go deeper into issues. But suffice to say that at that time, they said that it was Osama bin Laden in a cave in Afghanistan who had organized this simultaneous hijacking of these airplanes and made that attack on September the 11th, 2001. So that was the pretext for them to attack Afghanistan and launch a massive bombing campaign against that nation. And when that was over, they didn't stop there, having destroyed so-called Al-Qaeda and Osama bin Laden. They then decided to go into Afghanistan with a ground invasion and to occupy that nation. And that's been like that for the last 20 years. In that time, they've created puppet governments in order to try to change the nature and the configuration of the Afghan people. According to Joe Biden, they trained over 300,000 army soldiers from the Afghan people, which is a process called divide and rule. So you have Afghans fighting Afghans while the enemy, the real enemy, is in the land, basically living large. And so this is what's been going on for the last 20 years. Joe Biden, when questioned about the Taliban being able to retake Afghanistan and come back to power, said, no, impossible, can't happen. We've trained over 300,000. The Taliban only number about 75,000. And of course, we know the rest. What happened when the Americans pulled out recently, within 11 days, the Taliban took the country back. And then since that time, the Americans and the British have been trying to, say that, oh no, we wasn't going to renege on our promise to the Afghans, all of the thousands of Afghans that they compromised into working with them as interpreters, as guides, as scouts, and doing all manner of things against their own people. They promised them that they would give them this Western lifestyle. They will be able to, live like how they live in the West and whatever. And of course, a promise is a comfort to a fool, and they were basically trying to run out on those people. You saw the people literally clinging to airplanes and falling out of the sky, trying to get out of there because, the devil never keeps his promises. He never keeps his promises. And so that's what you are witnessing taking place right now in Afghanistan. And they're going to leave. The vast majority of the people, even though you will hear figures banded around like we've taken out over 100,000 Americans and British personnel and Afghans or whatever, the vast majority of those people who would love to get out of there, based on the promises made to them by the Western powers, they're not going to get out of there. And that's just the pattern of behavior of these people, where they go in, they divide the people against themselves, they wreck the country, they put them back literally decades in terms of growth and development, and then they move on. And so that's what we're kind of witnessing right now in Afghanistan, if that makes sense.
Myself getting used to this mute and unmute business. I'm telling you. Yes, brother, thank you very much for that response. I know the time is 10 o'clock now, brother, and yes, I did see another question, but I believe you may have answered this already, brother. I'm not going to take liberties with your time, King. It says, is this true that the BBC are not paying royalties because they didn't want to return, they didn't want to do reruns of your show, The Real McCoy?
Yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing question, brother, in that I think they have it right now on BBC iPlayer. Right. To my understanding, we should be receiving royalties. I haven't seen any royalties, but we have made inquiries with them to find out what's going on. And also, it's important to understand that, programs like Only Fools and Horses or Faulty Towers and all these things, they're rerun. In fact, the last series of The Real McCoy, the last 6 episodes, has never been repeated, not once.
Wow.
And for over 20 years, they basically lied to the Voice newspaper, they lied to New Nation, they lied to various people who made inquiries about The Real McCoy, saying that, oh, on the one hand, they said it was lost, the tapes were lost. On another instance, they said that, you know, I mean, all manner of excuses, but they never ever could give a proper explanation as to why The Real McCoy was not being shown, why it was never put on DVD, why it was never, you know, repeated like other shows are repeated, because basically they wanted to bury it, because it became apparent to them that, you know, it was a very, very powerful show. Even though it was comedy, it was powerful, and it really moved our people and woke our people up to a level of consciousness. And, you know, it's unfortunate, brother, but everyone else is allowed to have their consciousness, but Black people are not allowed to have consciousness. They'll put us on TV all day long, as long as we're doing stupidness and foolishness, and we are mocking ourselves and making ourselves look like, you know, just silly people, brother. But if we start to do anything which is progressive and, you know, powerful, then all of a sudden they have a difficulty or a problem with it. So, you know, we're trying to find out about the royalty situation. But as yet, we haven't seen anything from the BBC iPlayer showings that's been going on now for in excess of a year. But I think they owe me some money.
No, they do, bro.
I think they owe the other performers some money as well. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'm going to talk to my agent about the rights regarding that. And
yes, sir.
There's an actors body called Equity.
So, yes, I know about Equity. I got my Equity card back in the day.
Yeah, bro. We should talk to them, and because they should be able to recoup some money, royalties for yourself and the other cast members.
Yes, sir.
You know, you should be remunerated for that. And as you said earlier, brother, we just got to do our own thing, champion our own thing. And yeah, we will talk about that, brother, because we have to make sure that, you know, you're a national treasure in the Black community, bro. And that's facts. You're a living legend, bro.
Praise God.
You know, you are, because we want to. It's great to celebrate those of us great people from the past, but we have to celebrate those who are with us today.
Yes, sir.
You know, I think one Buddhist saying, it said, the past is the most important thing today. The most important thing about time is now, not the past. The past is there for us to learn from it. But the future is written by what we do now. And brother, you're a living legend now.
Praise God.
I personally want to make sure everybody knows about who you are and what you're doing, brother. And, you know, and I know the minister's very happy with what you're doing, bro. You know, and the works that are happening over here with the brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So
I look forward, brother. I look forward to the next time, brother. And I really
100%. We've got to do a part 2.
Yes,
you know, and I want to make a conversation with Leo Muhammad where we get everyone to come off mute, show themselves on screen so they can have a conversation, and I will just moderate it.
Absolutely.
So there's no Hyde Park hecklers that could just jump up on it, you know.
Absolutely.
Today they call them trolls, but we haven't got trolls today. We've got nothing but family. I want to thank the family. But family, please stay with us as Brother Leo relinquishes this Zoom platform. This will be available on social media. You know, and I want to say, brother, on the behalf of the Black Film Institute team and Black Cast Speakers Lounge and everyone else, I'm sure, I want to say thank you, brother. Thank you very much for jumping on. Thank you for your patience. I know we had technical difficulties, but we go around the rock, over the rock, underneath, or through. Nothing stops us. You know?
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, Brother Leo. You know, you're a big brother for me, a big father figure for me personally. You know.
God, thank you to your audience, brother. Thank you to all the brothers and sisters who tuned in. Thank you to all of the Muslims as well. I see you, and really appreciate you staying with us up to this point, and look forward to another opportunity in the near future. Thank you, Brother Courtney.
Thank you, Brother Leo, and we'll talk and we'll catch up. And assalamu alaikum to you, bro.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you, brother. Peace. Love. So, brothers and sisters, family, people, stay with us briefly. Don't go, don't go, don't go. I want to quickly share something with you that you're going to be very interested in. You can catch Leo Muhammad at Hyde Park Speakers Corner, 1 o'clock.
Lots of people come,
you know, where he's just
and other
firing
people, they
fire.
come because it's very interesting,
You know?
to listen to all of the different speakers. And some people find it to be tremendous fun to heckle the speaker, and then the speaker curses them, and then they curse back, and everybody has a wonderful time. Those of you who are here for that kind of game playing, I suggest to you that you keep moving to my right and your left, and I guarantee you will find some fun along the way. But we're not here for those kind of games. We're here because we have a very serious message that we would like to share with whoever cares to listen. You are not obligated to stand here and listen to us. So if when we speak, you don't like what we say, you should use your God-given intelligence and move along. But don't stand there and begin frothing at your mouth and becoming more and more incensed, where you begin to develop ideas of doing us harm. The reason why we stand in this configuration is not because we are here as aggressive people. We are completely peaceful. We adopt this stance because we have been coming to Hyde Park Speakers Corner for in excess of 20 years. And in that time, we have witnessed on numerous occasions the assault, physical assault of various speakers, and we have seen violence break out in many instances. And on occasion, this happened with us. We've been attacked here by the police, and we've been forced.
See, this is Leo Muhammad. People, go on the YouTube. You will see what Leo Muhammad is all about. Kicking things, and this is what we do.
Black Film Institute presents a Black Car Speakers Lounge, hosted by yours truly, Courtney Winston. Join us on our weekly discussions as we interview a host of performers and professionals from the world of entertainment. Black Film Institute presents the Black Car Speakers Lounge, hosted by yours truly, Courtney Winston. Join us on our weekly discussions as we interview a host of performers and professionals from the world of entertainment. Follow, like, subscribe.
So there you have it, people. Follow, like, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Black Car Speakers Lounge under the term Black Film Institute, which is our umbrella company. And we have so many interviews, so many podcasts with so many members of the community and of the human family in general, where we speak about different topics. Now, before we go, I gotta share something with you. Before you leave, I gotta share something with you. You know what? We have to send a big, massive shout out to the family of Lee Scratch Perry, who passed away, man. I just literally got the news. Lee Scratch Perry passed away. So, you know, Lee Scratch Perry was a member of Bob Marley and the Wailers, the group. Get rid of these adverts here, man.
Is dead.
Teach them. Always make sure the
Big up, teach them, and for their content.
Lee Scratch Perry, the monumental reggae singer, producer, and the studio wizard who pushed the boundaries of Jamaican music, and as a byproduct, rock, hip-hop, and dancehall with his explorations in the dub, has died. Perry died on Sunday, August 29th at the Noel Holmes Hospital in Hanover.
Literally today.
He was 85 years old. Cause of death was unknown at the time of this publication. Throughout a career spanning 7 decades, Perry was one of music's most prolific artists. Kiss Me Neck, a book that lists Perry's entire recording output through the early 2000s, runs over 300 pages. Born in Kendall, Hanover on March 20th, 1936, as Rainford U. Lee Perry, he moved to Kingston in the early 60s. My father worked on the road, my mother in the fields. We were very poor. I went to school. I learned nothing at all. Everything I have learned has come from nature, Perry said in a 1984 interview. When I left school, there was nothing to do except field work. Hard labor. I did not fancy that. So I started playing dominoes. Through dominoes, I practiced my mind and learned to read the minds of others. This has proved eternally useful to me. Perry's career in music began in the late 50s when he was employed to sell records for Clement Cox and Dodd's downbeat sound system. By the early 60s, Dodd opened his famed Studio One, where Perry, nicknamed Little at the time, got his first experience in the recording studio, producing a few dozen songs for the label. Cox never wanted to give a country boy a chance. No way. He took my songs and gave them to people like Delroy Wilson. I got no credit. Certainly no money. I was being screwed. After falling out with Dodd, Perry jumped over to Joe Gibbs' rival label Amalgamated Records, where Perry continued to produce in addition to furthering his own recording career as a lead artist. Disagreements between Perry and Gibbs resulted in Scratch finally forming his own label, Obseta Records. Thanks to his popularity in Jamaica and the UK, where his 1968 single, People Funny Boy, A Slam at Gibbs became a top 5 hit. In 1973, Perry was able to build his own backyard studio in Kingston, which he named the Black Ark. Here, Perry's artistic endeavors led him to push the limits of the recording studio's relatively antiquated capabilities to create his versions. He continued to produce notable musicians such as Bob Marley and the Wailers, Junior Biles, Junior Mervyn, the Eptones, the Congas, and Max Romeo. He soon began experimenting with drum machines and other studio effects that ushered in the dub era and paved the way for the current music production techniques used in reggae, hip hop, and rock. He became known for his innovative production techniques, as well as his eccentric character. Perry reached a wider global audience as a vocalist on the track Dr. Lee, PhD, from the Beastie Boys album Hello Nasty in 1998. In 2003, Perry won a Grammy for Best Reggae Album with the album Jamaican E.T. In 2004, Rolling Stone ranked Perry number 100 on their list of the 100 greatest artists of all times. In 2010, Perry recorded 3 albums with British producer Steve Marshall. The albums featured performances by Keith Richards and George Clinton. 2 of these albums, End of an American Dream in 2008 and Revelation in 2010, received Grammy nominations in the category Best Reggae Album. For his contribution to Jamaican music and culture, Perry received Jamaica's 6th highest honor, the Order of Distinction, Commander Class, in 2012. In his later years, Perry resided in Switzerland with his wife and their 2 children. He had 4 other children.
Teach them. Hey, yo, send the message and make it reach them. It's teach them. Right.
Big up, teach them. Big up, teach them. Big up, teach them.
Thank you for watching. Like the video before you go. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. And remember to share the video with your friends and family. And browse the channel for more quality content. Until next time, walk good, my friends.
Big up, teach them. Big up, teach them for that content there.
Since I'm
Big
taking
up,
a more
teach them.
laid-back approach to fixing
Yeah, we don't want to hear no adverts on YouTube right now. Right, so people, thank you very much. I want to say big up, brother Leo. Big up to Bada. My camera's a bit janky, to say the least, but we're here. I want to say thank you to all of you. Please go on our YouTube channel. Please follow, like, and subscribe our YouTube channel. Yeah, Black Cast Speakers Lounge. That's Black Cast Speakers Lounge. Please, me beg on you. Yeah. Please go ahead and subscribe to this channel, and you can see a host of many other interviews. Yeah, man, RIP, Rise in Paradise, Lee Scratch Perry. Yeah, a legend, a legend, a legend. Let's celebrate our legends now. So yeah, go and like and subscribe to us so you can see this recording and many others on there. So now let's pull up some tool butter. Let's pull up some tool butter. Where you there now? Oh yeah, legend. Right. Let's pull up some tool butter, people. Yeah. Forgive me, I am still getting a hold of all of this Zoom business. Yes. How's everyone feeling in the chat room? How's everyone feeling? How's everyone feeling? I'm glad that everyone is still with us, man. Still with us, still with us, still with us. Let me just pull up something real quick before you all go. I know we got work to, well, it's bank holiday tomorrow, isn't it? It's funny how they call it bank holiday because you know what? Bank holiday means the bank's on holiday, not us. When the banks take a holiday, then the people take a holiday. You ever wondered why they call it bank holiday? Want to big up man like Khalid Muhammad, I see you. The Black Bruce Lee in the building. Want to big up man like Victor Muhammad. Want to big up, I see so many people I ain't seen from for years now. Yo, want to big up everybody on there, man. Gerald, big up. Natalie, big up. Constance French, big up. Adrian, big up. Andre, big up. Yes. Yeah, that book, you can get it, How to Eat to Live, you can get it on Amazon. Amazon. Yeah. You can get How to Eat to Live from Amazon, people. But I want to just pull up some two batter before we leave, you know? I just want to pull up some two batter before we leave as we close. But I also want to play a little bit from this man who inspired Leo Muhammad and a host of many other people. Man like Michael Muhammad, big up. Man like Andrew Muhammad, who has his weekly shows every Tuesday. Make sure you look out for The Investigator, my teacher, my mentor, as well as Leo. Hidden Truth, historian, expert. I haven't met a man that can break down movies like this man. This man breaks down movies and films, and he can find a needle in a haystack. And that's The Investigator, AKA Andrew Muhammad. But check out this man that inspired Andrew and Leo Muhammad and a host of so many people. In truth, not just black people, but white people. He inspires so many people, and he's a beautiful human being. So check out this man. I think you know who I'm going to play. Yeah. Check out this beautiful human being. Yeah. Listen how he deals with questions and answers. This is Donahue Show.
Instead of remembering all these things that are in the past that are negative, that were not good for black,
yes, Minister Farrakhan commenting. According to the State of Black America by the Urban League, if we started right now, they said, we could never close the gap to black poverty and white poverty. She said, let us start right now. Let's forget the past. Notice this. When Jewish people remember the Holocaust and want the world to remember the Holocaust. Wait. Why do you want the world to remember? Because if the world does not remember, it is likely to repeat itself. And Jewish persons who suffered from the Holocaust want the world to remember this because the world turned its back while Jews were put in ovens. I, as a black person, want my people to remember what we have suffered and what we continue to suffer so that we will say like the Jews, never again. Jeez. Never again.
Okay, I've been listening in this corner right here, and I've heard a whole lot of negative things from the white people here. When you were trying to explain yourself, the white people don't want to hear you explain yourself. They draft.
Right. See, go and check this out on YouTube. for yourself, man. Hey, go and check out all of those things on YouTube for yourself. This screen is still janky. Go and check it out for yourself. That's Minister Louis Farrakhan handles Donahue. Meant to say the Donahue Show. Go and check it out, man. It's serious. It's serious. It's best to go and listen for yourself. You know what I mean? Don't allow the media to dictate your outlook. Go and find out for yourself. So what did I say we're gonna play before we relinquish the room? I said we're gonna play some of this, man, my brethren, your brethren, Mr. Toobada. All right, hold on now. Let me just pull up. Let me just, hold on, share screen. Share screen, brethren. Hold on.
After the marching of the protesting, what's next?
Yo. I want to big up Toobada for coming up on the platform.
We've been screaming for justice since the slave ships were brought in. Now the world is caught wind of what it's like when the system's racist and you're black and you're caught in it. No matter which patch I go, up and down the country, it's beautiful seeing black businesses grow. The same questions on everybody's lips though. After the marching, protesting, the what's next, father. That's why we need one voice.
Yeah.
A nationwide collaboration, and really we got no choice. Because they love to see us scattered and separated. But we know unity is where power's generated. Trying to line it up for the next one who's melanated. When we get together, Lord knows we know they hate it. We've been on the ropes like ducking and we're weaving. We can barely cope, but we just keep breathing. It's time to punch back, let's go. I'm flipping everything. Soul's on fire right now. I'm spitting everything. Every black business I know, I'm linking everything. North, south, east, and west. Police, let's bring it in. We're frustrated, no doubt. Cause up until now, we couldn't see a way out. If you really want to fight to change the system around, this is what batter's about. Only the time is now. One voice, one voice.
Come on. Buzz.
One voice, one voice. One voice, one voice. All we need is one voice for the youth. They ain't got many options. If we're really gonna speak the truth, we're quick to say they're rude. But if you listen a little closer, there's pain in his attitude. My younger, you ain't gotta fight your brother. Let's take that energy and both fight the government. Young sister, you ain't gotta be no IG model. Don't you know the crew got you, sister? Give her a cuddle. Everybody gotta die someday. What's your purpose, Don? Mine's my kid's future to make sure the hurt is gone. Hot plate of truth is the platter I'm serving from. Think I'm standing by and watching these murders going on. So all community leaders, all public speakers, all master teachers, anybody with influence, chatty people. Malcolm X was a preview. This is a sequel. By any means necessary, fight for my people. Look how much Marcus Garvey did without no streaming. Then I'm steaming. Ancestors no more dreaming. We could unite the whole of our people with one voice, one voice.
Yeah.
One voice, one voice.
We're marching through these streets.
One voice, one voice. One voice, one voice.
To all people.
One voice, one voice.
All we need is all these things.
One voice, one voice.
We're marching through these streets.
One voice, one voice.
Yeah.
One voice, one voice.
To all people.
Black Film Institute presents the Black Car Speakers Lounge. Hosted by yours truly, Courtney Winston. Join us on our weekly discussions as we interview a host of performers and professionals from the world of entertainment. Follow, like, subscribe